Mobility often appears as the purest form of advantage. The ability to move across open water, to bypass obstacles that confine land-based systems, suggests a kind of freedom that cannot easily be constrained. Yet, movement at scale carries its own condition. The more extensively a system depends on continuous motion, the more it must sustain the pathways that make that motion possible. Over time, the routes that once enabled flexibility begin to require protection, coordination, and maintenance. What appears as freedom gradually reorganizes itself into obligation. This pattern matters because maritime power is rarely lost through sudden obstruction. It narrows as the effort required to maintain movement begins to exceed the advantage movement once provided. Across the world's oceans, coastlines rarely form simple edges. They break into irregular sequences of peninsulas, island chains, and enclosed seas. Narrow straits compress passage between wider basins. Wind systems move in seasonal cycles, shaping predictable corridors that ships follow across long distances. In the North Atlantic, prevailing westerlies carry vessels outward, while return routes depend on different currents and winds. In the Indian Ocean, monsoon cycles reverse direction across the year, determining when crossings are possible. Harbors appear where coastlines provide shelter from storms, often at the mouths of rivers that extend movement inland. Between these fixed points lie expanses of open water, measured not only in distance, but in time governed by weather patterns. Movement does not occur freely across all directions. It aligns with corridors defined by geography, climate, and repetition. At first, these corridors compress distance. A vessel leaving a well-positioned harbor can cross vast stretches of water faster than any overland route. Cargo moves outward in branching patterns, connecting distant coasts into a shared network. Ports function as brief interruptions in movement rather than endpoints. Ships arrive, exchange goods, and depart again with minimal delay. Then the pauses begin to accumulate. A ship that travels repeatedly along the same route requires maintenance at predictable intervals. Hulls weaken under constant exposure to salt water. Sails wear under repeated strain from seasonal winds. Harbors that once served as temporary stops begin to expand. Docks extend into deeper water. Storage facilities appear near shorelines where goods must wait before transfer. Shipyards cluster where vessels regularly require repair. Workers adjust their routines. Carpenters remain near docks where hulls arrive in need of reinforcement. Sailmakers align their labor with the return of fleets. When ships are delayed by storms, labor shifts toward maintenance tasks until departure becomes possible again. Movement continues, but the places where it pauses begin to thicken with activity. A shift occurs in scale. What once appeared as movement across open water now reveals itself as a chain of fixed points connected by predictable routes. Each additional corridor extends the network farther outward, increasing the distance between major repair and resupply locations. Ships must carry more provisions to cross these longer stretches. Cargo capacity adjusts accordingly. Barrels of water and preserved food begin to occupy space once used for trade goods. The balance between movement and supply starts to change. A vessel leaving port no longer carries only what it intends to exchange, but also what it must consume to sustain its journey across longer intervals. Further inland, the system extends its reach. Timber from distant forests is cut and transported toward shipyards. Iron is shaped into fastenings and tools required for repair. These materials move along rivers and roads toward coastal hubs, where maritime maintenance depends on their steady arrival. Inland workers adjust production to meet the demands of fleets they may never see. Then the routes begin to synchronize. Ships traveling along the same corridors depart in coordinated groups, aligning with seasonal winds and currents. Convoys form not by choice, but by necessity. Movement becomes predictable. Ports prepare for arrivals in concentrated waves rather than continuous flow. Warehouses fill and empty according to these cycles. At first, this repetition increases efficiency. Labor organizes around known schedules. Supply chains align with expected departures and arrivals. The system appears stable, even optimized. But repetition introduces pressure at its narrowest points. Straits that guide navigation begin to concentrate traffic. Vessels wait for passage through confined waterways where movement cannot expand laterally. Harbors fill with ships delayed by unfavorable winds or congestion at docks. Repair schedules extend as more vessels arrive than can be serviced immediately. A different kind of delay emerges. A ship waiting for repair occupies space needed by another vessel. Cargo remains on board longer than planned. Inland transport networks pause as goods fail to arrive on schedule. Workers shift tasks again, compensating for interruptions that originate far beyond their immediate environment. Distance amplifies these delays. A storm in one region postpones departures that ripple across the network. Ships arriving late compress the timing of subsequent voyages. Ports downstream adjust labor to accommodate irregular arrivals, while inland settlements extend their supplies across uncertain intervals. The system adapts, but each adaptation adds weight. Supply vessels begin to accompany fleets, carrying materials required for maintenance at distant stations. Small outposts appear along coastlines where ships can replenish water or food before continuing their journey. These stations require their own supplies, which must be transported from central ports. A vessel departs not only to move cargo, but to sustain the network that allows cargo to move. Silence appears in the intervals between these movements. Weeks pass across open water, where no adjustment can be made once a journey begins. Decisions must anticipate conditions that have not yet occurred. Messages between ports require similar durations, arriving too late to alter departures already in motion. The system continues to expand. Routes multiply, but flexibility narrows. Ships follow established circuits that ensure the maintenance of distant stations and supply chains. Fewer vessels remain available to explore alternative paths or respond to unexpected opportunities. Movement persists, but it increasingly serves the structure that supports it. At the level of daily labor, the change is subtle. Dock workers unload standardized cargo, arriving in coordinated convoys. Repair crews follow schedules set months in advance. Supply clerks record inventories not only for trade, but for the upkeep of distant outposts whose needs must be anticipated long before confirmation arrives. Recognition begins to form within the system itself. Observers note the growing proportion of resources dedicated to maintenance rather than exchange. They measure the increasing time required to coordinate departures across expanding distances. They see that ships continue to move, yet more of that movement sustains the routes themselves. The structure becomes visible. Choice appears, but only within the limits already established by distance, infrastructure, and obligation. Routes cannot be shortened without abandoning the stations that depend on them. Shipyards cannot relocate without disrupting the supply chains that feed them. The network holds together through the very dependencies that prevent its reconfiguration. A question emerges within this constraint. If maritime advantage depends on continuous movement across open space, what occurs when maintaining that movement requires more coordination than the system can adjust in time? No interruption answers it. Across the same corridors, ships continue to depart according to wind patterns that have not changed. Harbors still receive vessels that arrive with the same materials required to sustain the network. Inland, resources continue to move toward coastal hubs, where they are transformed into maintenance for fleets that will carry them outward again. The distances remain. They stretch between fixed points that have grown heavier with each cycle of expansion. Movement continues across them, but increasingly in service of preserving the pathways themselves. And along those coastlines where ships once departed with minimal delay, workers now stand among rows of vessels waiting for clearance, each one prepared not only for the journey ahead, but for the upkeep of the system that makes the journey necessary. If this reflection resonated with you, you can find more explorations like this on timeless questions, where history, power, and human nature quietly intersect.